Representative Prince.
I'm sorry, I missed. What areas, or what building are you working on again?
If it's down on the corner of Capitol Avenue and Memorial, the old archives building.
Oh, archive. Okay, thank
The
you.
old big marble building down there. If you go by there and take a look, you can see we're knocking about on getting it torn down. We had to come back and put up scaffolding all the way around it, had to tent each side as we went around to get the asbestos. And all the guys had to wear spacesuits down there working. It was quite a sight.
Yikes.
But they're nearly through with that.
Chairman Smith.
Thank you. We've been tearing that building down for 20 years.
At least.
But
I can promise you it's coming down now.
so you're telling me about your problems with remediation, and I don't know if the brownfield program is something you can qualify for, but have you looked into that?
I don't think we qualify for being the state. I don't
Okay.
think we qualify for brownfield.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Chairman Martin.
That's something that kind of makes you go, huh? When your federal government work, they'll fix private companies' foul ups, but they won't fix the tax.
Well, the
It wasn't
brownfield,
necessarily what, I know it was a different thing.
it's a tax credit.
Yeah,
and we
I'm-
don't pay
yeah.
federal government taxes, so.
Yeah, so it's, yeah. So just to make sure, I mean, I get to 4.5, I'm assuming you're doing this as efficient and so forth, so we won't even get into the, can it be faster, better, stronger? I'm assuming you're doing that. So you have bonds to do the project, so we're basically accelerating the money you need.
We are asking for bonds in the
That was my
next FY18.
Okay, so you're just going to reduce that bond. That was my question. What was for a practical sense? How do we make sure if those bonds, so you don't have any bond funding for it now?
Not for the construction, just the
Thank you
demo.
much.
All right, that looks like it's it. Anything else from anyone?
So the committee, what is going in its place?
There will be a new judicial building. We've outgrown the judicial building, the courts have. We've got the appeals court stuck in 3 different buildings around Capitol Hill. The Supreme Court, went from 7 members to 9 members, so we're enlarging that. The Court of Appeals grows by population, so every time we get to a certain, I don't know what the number is, I'll pull one out of the hat, 200,000 people or something, then by law you have to increase the number of panels, and there's 3 people or 3 judges on each panel. So you've just totally outgrown it, and the building that they're in right now is the worst building that we have on the hill, and it's got to have some major renovations. And we found out when we renovated the health building years ago, you can't renovate when people are in it. It just doesn't work. So
What will the judicial building be used for when it's renovated?
well, first thing we'll do is go in and remodel it, put a decent heating and air conditioning system in it, and other things. The law department will
Continue.
get first dibs on, and then we'll probably move some agencies that are off the hill
Onto.
in private space, probably bring them back in
Good.
and backfill those spots.
Okay. All right. Well, you have no more questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next up, we have the Department of Revenue. We're on page 14. Well, Madam Commissioner, welcome back.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Friday to everyone, and I wish you all safe journeys on your way back home for the weekend. Much deserved rest. It seems to have been a very busy week that you started right out the gate. We're working on page 65 in
It's
section
14 on
42.
our end.
Okay.
14 is on our tracking sheet.
All right. We have 4 areas where there will be additional appropriations in the FY amended FY17. The first one, under forest land protection grants, we see an appropriation for $15 million. And as we spoke before this committee last week, that will backfill or provide for some of the backfill of what's currently pending before the department. That will allow us to pay out all of the remaining $7 million of the 2015 applications from the local governments and start to take a swing at the 2016 applications. Just as a matter of information, there is a $14 million appropriation in the fiscal year 18 budget, which will take us a little further along that journey should the General Assembly so approve. The next item of significance is under 42.5.1. This is $2 million to pay a legacy liability for the local tax officials' retirement fund to provide for retirement amounts for payout. Under 42.6.2, under motor vehicles registration and titling, an appropriation of $1,550,000 that will assist us in providing for demand for new and or new purchases, whether new or used motor vehicles in the state of Georgia. As we have mentioned to this committee before, we continue to see prosperity in the purchases of vehicles and registrations of such, and we utilize this money as quickly as it's provided to us to keep up with the demand for title and registrations in the state. And finally, spread across industry regulation and Office of Special Investigations, our funds to provide for our post-certified personnel's salary adjustments as reflected by the Governor's Office. And with that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Representative Barr.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On the motor vehicle registration, is that for personnel, or just help me understand what that one is for?
Sure, thank you, Representative Barr. That is for hard cost. That is for the administration and production of tags, titles, mailing. These are hard operational costs, not
Okay.
personnel.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Martin.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Commissioner, for coming in. In truth, those we're seeing a budget. You're reflecting on this hard cost. In truth, the state's also seeing, or somebody's seeing revenue for that, for the additional registration and title requirements.
That is
We
correct.
just doesn't. We don't see that flow through here. So this is not just a one-way flow of the money, right?
That is
Yeah.
correct, Mr. Chairman. The revenues that come in go directly to the state
Treasury, and we just have to budget them. So this is not like we're just dropping $1.5 million here. We're giving it back to you because it costs you money to process that revenue.
That is correct.
Let me ask you, on 42.5, you know pensions and retirement are near and dear to my heart. There's three things that can happen to these defined benefit systems. You know, you can put more money, the state can put more money in it, the people can put more money in it, or we can get a better return. I mean, we're having to do this because we're not at the requirement to meet the
Fully
balance.
funded.
Fully, well, nobody's ever fully funded, but we're below what we would hope to be, right? I mean, we're in our ERS system, I think we're 85, and that's good relative to the country. Where are we in this one? Because you're just getting this number, right? You're the administrator for this. You're just being handed this by somebody else in the state of, you need this money because you administer. Is that not true?
That is correct. It's a pass-through from our perspective. I'd have to get that information and bring it back to you. I don't have it available at this point, but we'd be happy to find out.
Madam Chair, I think that would be good for this community. Again, the commissioner is just the messenger here on this. She needs it because it passed through that department. But at some point, I think it would be viable, since those dollars are flowing through your subcommittee, that we kind of know the health of that particular retirement system, because it seems like we've done this more than once. And if it's not being funded properly, as we go, or I'll leave it at that. It seems like we ought to look at the health of that particular retirement system rather than to try to pump it up 1 year at a time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll be happy to get that information
Thank you.
and provide it.
Yeah, very helpful. Any other questions by the committee? Thank you very much.
Thank
Have
you.
a
Have
great
a-
weekend.
And you as well. Thank you.
I see Scott Austinson out there in the audience. Hi. Sorry to call you out, but I had dinner with some DOE folks last night, and we talked very fondly of you. Where are you now?
I'm with the Treasury.
Treasury, okay.
Treasurer, thank
Well, it's great to see you. I miss seeing you regularly like I used to.
you. Well, I don't know if I miss coming here, but I miss not the hot seat, but I love the people.
Well, glad to see you. I probably should, shouldn't I? All right. Lastly, for the day, we have the Department of Driver Services. Again, my hometown hero, Mr. Burt Brantley, Commissioner. Page 6 to the members.
I may enlist Scott's help if this doesn't go well. Well, thank you for your time this morning. We have 4 ads in the amended FY17 budget that we'd like to share with you this morning and go over. So first, item 21.2.1, very similar to Commissioner Riley. This is our law enforcement raises for our criminal investigators, 118,000. We have 18 post-certified investigators at DDS. They look into identity theft, identity fraud, those kind of issues when our customers bring those up. Also, any issues at the centers where we have any kind of theft or customer malfeasance or anything like that. So those guys are spread out around the state, and we're very, very thankful for the governor and speaker and lieutenant governor stepping up. Our average salary was a little bit lower than some of the other investigators and some of the other agencies, so our average increase was a little bit higher. The way that the state did this going forward is there's going to be a floor now set for the criminal investigator position. And so some of our guys saw even a little bit greater than 20% increase on January 1st. So that 118,000 will go to those 18 guys who are out every day working hard and helping protect us. So we're very excited about that. 21.2.3 is in Chairman Martin asked a couple questions about this last week. These are funds to help with our new car production system. And so if you think about when you go into the DDS center, all of the front office equipment, all the computers, the cameras, the signature pad, all of that is part of a vendor contract that we have. And that contract is up at the end of June of 2018. So we are preparing to, and that's a long-term contract. We have an RFP out right now. We anticipate awarding that in spring of 2017, so this spring, about a year implementation of that. And so these funds will help us do 2 things. First of all, they will cover some technology costs that we'll have. Right now we work off of the mainframe, the state mainframe, which is expensive to do data pulls and develop programs off of. So the vast majority of these funds will go towards that mainframe, additional costs for the mainframe that will be developed over this year as we implement the new system. And then the second piece of this will be training for our staff. So we will do the training very likely internally, but this will develop the training program. We'll do an RFP for a consultant to come in and help us develop the training materials that we will then go out and train our staff with. And so that is covered in the 394,000 in 21.2.3. In 21.2.4, this is a familiar line item for you. This is a one-time funds for a CDL pad in Rome. You guys may remember that you approved these funds last year. We were not able, at that point we were anticipating being able to put that in Paulding County at our new facility in Dallas. But unfortunately some local politics got in the way, and the vote was voted down by the county commission out there, and so we had to go back to the drawing board and find a new spot. We looked at all of our CSCs in West Georgia, and the one that offers the best opportunity is up in Rome. And we are working with Floyd County right now to try to put this plan in place so that this $500,000, which we gave back to the state last year because we couldn't use it in time. We're very hopeful that we can put this money towards a project with Floyd County and create a new CDL pad in Rome. And the real benefit here, the Dalton CDL facility has about a 6-week backlog right now. That's the highest backlog that we have around the state. And so this one would ease that pressure off of the Dalton Center and give us some relief there. The big problem with having such a long wait before testing is if you go through a CDL program and then have to wait 6 weeks to test, you have a real degradation of skills and knowledge over that time. And a lot of folks end up getting new jobs. They can't wait that long before they get tested. And so by reducing that backlog, we really feel like that will help people get certified and licensed and out working in this really high demand area and career that we have right now. So I would just caution that is not a completely 100% plan at this point. This money, we are very hopeful to be able to use it and do something, but it does take some participation from Floyd County, and we are working with them diligently. And so we can come back to you later in the session and update you on that as we go, but we're very hopeful that it'll work out. And then on 21.2.5, this is our vehicle replacement, 10 vehicles. And our vehicles are not specialty in most cases. They are just, in the past we have done the Kia Optimas, which are built here, and glad to do that. But these are mostly just for traveling the state, visiting centers. 6 of these vehicles actually are out of service in our fleet right now. So these 6 new ones will replace 6 that we don't actually have use of at this point. And then the other 4 will be, we have multiple vehicles that are in excess of the surplus mileage, and we're badly needed, and just in terms of continuing to refresh that the fleet. We've got 55 vehicles that are older than 10 years old, and so this will help us start to make a little bit of a dent into refreshing our fleet a little bit. So those are the 4, and very thankful for the assistance, and we continue to be very proud of our performance numbers. Things are going very well. We've had some computer network glitches over the last couple of days, including Representative Hatchett down in Dublin this morning, and pretty frustrated at that right now. But other than that, that's not something. Those are cuts outside of our. Those are outside of our building, just network service to the buildings. But other than that, things are going really well. We're very pleased with our performance in the last several months.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Chairman Martin.
First of all, just for the committee, and I'd already spoken to the gentleman earlier, I had occasion yesterday to call their automated support line. And it wasn't just testing them out. I really had a need, and it was, I was telling you, it was somewhere 4 to 6 minutes, 3 to 6 or something. Very very pleasant person that got on the phone, and appreciate that. So there's a real life version.
Chairman Martin is our secret shopper.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a real life version of a secret shopper. Aren't you glad it worked out like that?
Could not be happier.
Yeah, I was going to say I did dial it from a 404-656 number, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But no, seriously, thank you for doing it. On the vehicles, real quick, how many do you have in the total fleet for the department?
Yeah, I got the
you said you had 55 older than 10 years old. I'm just curious. Do you have a 144? Okay, that's fine. Once upon a time, we talked about that because I think that's tough. I mean, and I know money's tight, and I squeak when I walk around here spending taxpayers' money, and I know Madam Chair does that as well. But at one point, it was talked about somewhere over the years about actually getting a refresh program for the vehicles, much like they've tried to do, with the technology things. I'd love to see what you guys think that would be, so that there would be something each year. I mean, obviously, if the state, has financial issues, but there's nothing wrong with driving a 10-year-old car if it's safe.
Sure, absolutely.
But or if it costs less to drive it than it would be to get a new one. But sometimes you get into that point, and they're either down, and then you're paying some employee to drive at 54.5 cents a mile or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So just that would be interesting to me if you guys have an opportunity.
Yeah,
to do.
and we have in the past, I would say over the past 2 or 3 years, gotten since the depths of the recession has come back. Normally these are bonded. You can do a 5-year bond on a vehicle because you're going to get the use of that. And then what the governor's recommendation is just chosen to fund that with cash this year. But
And I like
yeah.
that, by the way. I mean,
Yeah.
good for the governor on that.
Yeah.
Pay as you go.
yeah, we're very supportive of that as well. The great thing about us, unlike some of the like State Patrol, for example, we were just talking with them about this. It's hard for them. They order these specialized cars with equipment. Ours are really pretty standard, off the shelf vehicles, so we can quickly get these cars and get them into service before the end of the fiscal year, which may not be the case with some other more specialty vehicles.
So what you're saying there is you're not going to be required to drive the Atlanta mayor around or anything. No blue lights.
I'm gonna defer comment on that to the chairman.
Any other questions by the members? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
Really enjoyed the video
Thank
on
you.
Wednesday.
Tyler Perry has already called. I'm going to meet with him next week. Going to do some acting and see what he thinks. All right, members, just for a reminder, next week we will start on Tuesday with budget hearings, whole group. 9:45 is when the welcome begins, and it'll run through 4:30 that afternoon, and then again on Wednesday. But I appreciate your time this morning. We have a pretty good group of legislators here with only a couple missing. So have a great weekend. Meeting adjourned.